Hi guys. That's
Hey.
the first. That's the first hi guys in
That is the
Bledsoe
first hi
Sets of
guys.
history.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Are we starting with hi guys now? Is that
That's
the
it.
thing?
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi guys
guys.
and bye guys. That's very like manicured.
I see.
Yeah,
I
it
don't-
is.
Whatever.
It's clean.
It is clean. It's very clean.
That's exclusive to this episode. This is the
Okay.
only
Yeah.
one.
All right. So
ever.
I'm here. I'm trying to start this. I'm starting this one. How weird.
It's been started.
All right. This is the spirit world
Yes.
episode. The only thing I called you today. I said to remind me what we were talking about. And the only thing that I've been thinking of is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's a good reference.
When he
Great.
what was it? When they show up to the village,
The
and
panda.
that monster,
It's
the
a panda.
monster is like destroying the village, and then Aang gets trapped in the spirit world for like the next day or so. That's
Yeah.
and so I'm like seeing Aang in the blue as a blue like in the spirit world. That's all I've been thinking about, really.
Yeah.
Have you seen Korra?
No,
Dude, the whole second season is about like the spirit world. Yeah.
Well,
I might have to
It's
watch
cool.
Did you finish? Oh, well, you're not going to drop it. I'll have to check that out. You get.
Wow.
it.
I'll have to
See,
check it out.
but I don't watch things. So
Yeah, I know you don't. We've
But that's the
established
joke.
that.
That's the joke, though.
Did
I'm gonna
you
have to check it
finish?
out.
Did you finish the first season? Or sorry, the first series?
Yeah,
Avatar Last.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Then you would love
Yeah,
Korra.
Korra's
Yeah,
good.
probably.
Love Korra.
Korra's good.
Well, I think
It's-
Avatar was so good to me because I grew up watching Avatar, but never watched it in order. I
Mhm.
would just catch it on
Mhm.
TV.
Same,
And I enjoyed
same.
it. So when I went back, like as an more, I guess, more of an adult, and watched it through, it was very like nostalgic, and it was really pulling at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
I have a strong feeling that if you watch Korra, you'll have those same feelings. It is true to the source material.
It really is. It
Yeah?
is.
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy because I never thought Korra would be good. I never watched it until this past
Right.
year, till like 2020. I guess we're in 2021 now. Anyway,
We're in 2022
dang, I'm so
now.
messed
Hello.
up. I'm so
No,
messed
Hello.
up. I'm so messed up.
I still don't. I'm still. I'm behind.
I'm
still.
behind in my head,
Oh,
but
yeah.
We all are.
in 2020, I started Korra, like literally as an adult.
Right.
And it's crazy because the quality of it, even though it'll never compare to the original show for the sheer fact that it came out like, 20 years ago or whatever,
Right.
the
Mhm.
quality of Korra is just as good.
Yeah.
It's
Are you
super
is.
talking
funny.
like content quality?
Content,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
characters, like the dynamic between them, the voice acting, like
Okay.
it's genuinely funny, dude.
You're
And
saying
I'm gonna
Good.
go out on a limb here and say, in some small ways, there are things that Korra does a little bit better
Yeah.
than
yeah,
OG
yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Like some of the there are Alex is out. Like, yeah, first of all, Korra is darker. Korra
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it's a little darker.
it ain't no
uh,
kids show.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a little. I think the intent was to maybe grow with the audience, but
Yeah, I mean,
that makes sense.
it has a more mature vibe for sure.
Cool.
Like they're
Yeah,
all even
yeah.
older characters, and yeah, it's a cool show, man. But like,
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy, and it's very esoteric. Like season 2 is really good. It
Mhm.
goes into like how the Avatar formed, like because it's like reincarnating
Yeah.
over
Yo,
and over.
What do we do? How have we not done an Avatar episode? We have.
I
to
don't know,
do that.
dude. I don't know.
We have to do that. It's literally about archetypal energy.
Yeah,
That's- that's-
and like
that's
and
what the show's about.
chakras, and Aang opens his chakras right before he fights the Fire Lord. Remember that part
Yeah.
when he like
Oh,
he becomes like
And
an
then doesn't he seal the Fire Lord's chakras?
Well,
a way?
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't like explicitly say that. He just
permanently
he manipulates his
closed, dude.
energy. But yeah,
Right.
no, Avatar is goaded. It's literally
Yeah.
goaded.
it's incredible.
So Spirit World.
Yeah, this episode's about the spirit world.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna make a mention of this, but the beings back in 2012, they told my dad that they come from the eternal world. Like they're these spiritual beings of light, and they come from the eternal world, is what they called it. They didn't use the word spirit world, but I just feel like that term sort of encapsulates the concept. So I've been
When you hear spirit world, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That do you think of it as like the plane where anything other than this physical realm, including like energy and whatever, all of that exists?
yes, the
Or
spirit.
is it exclusive to like where spirits dwell?
Well, like that's that. Now we're having a definition problem because it's like, what is a spirit?
Yeah.
A spirit is eternal, immortal consciousness that is not in this dense material reality. This is what I really wanted to kind of get into. And this is a concept that you can understand from many different angles. But like, for example, the Egyptians, they talked about the three realms of being, and it's the mental, the physical, and then the spirit, like the human, your mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
And but they also had this concept called as above, so below, or the principle of correspondence, meaning you can sort of understand like I'm like tripping on my words tonight. The rules and the laws of the higher spirit world by observing the lower spirit world, as above, so below. And then you get into the concept of Chinese, Taoism, same thing. Just some say it with a D, some say it with a T, Tao and Tao. And they have this concept that like it's basically consciousness. Spoiler, it's basically consciousness, and consciousness
real
is
quick. I have a book that's called The Tao of Winnie the Pooh.
nice. What
I
is
have
that?
a whole book about it.
What is that even about?
It's about how like basically Winnie the Pooh is a Taoist icon. Think about like
What?
dude. Think
He's
about
really
He
chill.
doesn't wear any pants.
Yeah, he's chill. He's chill.
well, if you think about it might be a silly tangent to go on, but like if you think about him, he's like a hobbit. He lives in the ground. He eats when he wants to. He sleeps when he wants to. He just kind of like he's just chills and he helps the people around him. He's literally a Taoist icon. Anyway, sorry.
That's pretty funny. And then all the other characters are archetypes of like, depression, anxiety. It's really cool what those characters are. I love Winnie the Pooh. We had a whole conversation about this on the recent Daddy Dionysus Twitch stream I was on. Remember?
Yeah. Totally.
We talked all about
your
the
cousin
Halo?
Lee brought it up.
You were there. It was the
Yeah.
one we talked a lot about Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
But so like the spirit world is a very fascinating subject, but my understanding of it is it's the realm, we live in this duality paradox where we're like beings of it's the cross. This is what the cross means. You're in the crossing place between spirit and matter. Heavenly matter has heavenly spirit has descended into matter, which is your consciousness is becoming dense in this physical form. So like your spiritual consciousness is riding this animated material body. That's the cross. And the spirit world to me is the true eternal realm. Like there's a realm that we cannot, no matter how hard we try, you cannot detect it with your five senses, period. It's impossible because your five senses are interpreting physical data like light waves, sound waves, chemicals from smell and taste, temperature, pressure, texture through the skin and the nervous system. We can only interpret physical data with our five senses.
Yeah. Our bodies are like little avatars. There you go.
Yeah.
Avatars. It's almost the way that I think about it, at least. It's like we're just here and our bodies are just in this physical form so that we can perceive the spirit world around us and its effects around us in a physical, tangible way. And that's how we learn the lessons about life, the lessons about consciousness. And it's like we're little like antennas. Our bodies are just little antennas to pick up those things.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like we talked about this in the last episode, the chakra episode, and it's the concept that the higher realities are more metaphorical. They're more not as literal, but when we're in this rationally organized, physical, dense material reality density, you're in the third density. Your body is arranged in a molecular and atomic way that is very dense. Your atoms are so close together and they're vibrating so close together that it gives this illusion of physical sensation and touch. And the spirit world, in my opinion, the realm of spirit is the vibration, so to speak, that is so fast that it seems like it's not moving at all. It's all around you. There are these spiritual vibrations that you cannot detect. No matter how far we evolve, you just can't detect them with the physical senses. And that's actually the next step in evolution. Is humankind is evolving at a rate that is, I mean, we're in the age of Aquarius now. Like my freaking nephew is a year and a half at the moment, and he can call my dad on his tablet. Is that not crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, my
Yeah,
dad
it's
gets
pretty
like
bizarre.
25 calls a day from my nephew. It's just like humans are evolving, and the faculty
awesome.
of the human race that's evolving is consciousness. It's the brain. Excuse me, it's parts in the brain that allow us to use like that extra sense, that sixth sense. You want to hear something
Sixth
crazy, dude?
sense.
I just thought about this, but when I was in Diana Walsh Pasulka's office, which for
Mhm.
those who don't know who that is the scholar of philosophy and religion at the University of Wilmington, North Carolina, who was a consultant for like X number of Hollywood films, like The Conjuring, and I think off the top of my head, that's the only one. And she got involved with my family many years ago. My dad introduced her to a guy by the name of Timothy Taylor. He's this like member of the Department of Defense, and she like got into some contracts with them. She wrote a whole book about it. It's called
American Cosmic.
American Cosmic. Yep, it's called
I'm
American.
looking at it right now. I got it right over there.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
great
it's
book.
called and she got involved with like elements of the Department of Defense in from meeting my dad and things like that. And when I was in her office a few years ago, dude, this was classified at the time. But
Bro, hello, you know your family is thanked in that book.
yeah, I mean, I haven't read it.
Yeah,
I
it is. Yeah, she literally straight up shouts out the Bledsoe family. Like,
yeah.
your family is in the book, basically.
Yeah, and there are parts in the book where she talks about like an experience her friend from North Carolina. It's very obviously my dad.
Yeah.
She told my dad she wasn't allowed to write about him. I don't know. That's what she said.
Gotcha.
Anyway, she did. She told stories about us without using the name. And anyway, so when I was in her office a few years ago catching up with her, like I first moved to Wilmington, which is where she lives too, you know. And I was sitting there, and she like made me put my phone in the other room, super paranoid about like people spying on us and things like that. Just, you know, the way I grew up, typical, being
Yeah.
told by the CIA and NASA that we're always going to be tapped. So like there was a majority of my life I believed it, and put my phone in the other room. We had this riveting conversation, and one of the things she told me, dude, was what she had learned from the Invisible College, which for the listener who doesn't know, I'll just catch you up really briefly. The Invisible College is a very high level elite scientific community within the Department of Defense and academia, like college, you know, universities and such. And one of the things that they told her was that the human race is evolving, and there's a part of the brain she didn't at the time. She wouldn't tell me the part of the brain. She said it was classified.
So this is no longer classified.
No, I'm about to tell you what it is.
Yeah,
I found out years later what it is.
I know. I'm just like,
Yeah. No, it's
when you told me it was
because it was all those years ago. Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's since the research has come out, and it turned out to be true. But she told me that was one of the things in the Invisible College that they knew, that they could detect from this element of the brain that has evolved, who has psychic potential. Like everybody has psychic potential to a degree, but there are certain people being born throughout the human race who have an evolved caudate putamen. This is what she told me. She said, I don't know the part of the brain, it's classified, but I know that they know in the Invisible College in the United States Department of Defense. She said, I know they know that your family is incredibly psychic, and they construct these elite groups in the Department of Defense based on other psychics with this evolved part of the brain. And she said, anyway, long story short, that they had detected that the caudate putamen. Later, I found out the research was declassified by this guy named like Gary Nolan or something like that. Did the research, another figure in her book, and like that's what I'm trying to get at. Moral of the story is they know in elements of the Department of Defense, United States military, they know and understand fully that the human race is evolving. Like faculties of consciousness, extrasensory perception, higher abilities, higher knowing. She told me that it was like a filter in your brain, that if you had this mechanism in your brain, you could be led towards truth. Like it's intuition. It can help you filter out illusions, kind of like third eye, kind of like you have a more open third eye. And she plainly said the Department of Defense knows that my family has incredible psychic potential for this reason. I don't know. It's what she said. She could be bullshitting me.
It's wild when you think about when you hear that, and when you think about it, it like contextualizes all of those movies and shows and stuff that are all about like evolving human consciousness, right? Like one of our favorites is 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah.
There's tons of
X-Men.
X-Men is all about it. Yeah, literally. And we talked about this in the Marvel episode, but there are literally secret societies that are trying to stop the X-Men from doing that. Like, like it's literally about that. Even dude, we might have talked about this on an episode already, but Elon Musk, his whole reason for trying to get us to another planet is so that the human consciousness has enough time to evolve, so that part of our brain has enough time to move on and be able to transcend and perceive the spirit world around us. Like, it's so cool.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, it's like, what does this have to do with the spirit world? I was getting to the point that we are evolving, and there are faculties in our brain. People have to understand, like, oh, well, you're saying like you're a spiritual being, but you need a certain part of your brain to be developed to like perceive spiritual realities. Well, you have to understand, first, your consciousness, you're a soul, you're a spirit, and then the physical reality manifests around that. So if the human race was evolving, that would manifest as the brain undergoing changes, because then our conscious faculty.
Yeah, we're currently like bottlenecked by our hardware,
our biology. Yeah, by our hardware.
Yeah,
exactly. And I do think that the rate of evolution will be less physical and will be more like consciousness, ESP, extrasensory phenomenon.
We got to evolve our CPU, our processor, to be able to handle those high speeds. I mean, if you think about it like that, like a machine, it's it's pretty it's easier to kind of
well, that's what your dad was talking about when we were hanging out with your dad, was that the computer is kind of a tool to help this generation kind of understand these topics.
But it's
was one of the coolest things he said. One of my favorite things he said in that convo.
As a big computer guy, it he put it in a way that really clicked.
Well, the beings put it in his head, like, this is like a game. This is like a program. And the real reality is outside of the game. So onto the spirit world. I wanted to go into that to talk about how there are faculties of the human body that can allow us to have perceptions that are beyond the physical, even though we access them through physical means. Like, there are lots of people, this isn't a rare thing, but there are lots of people who, reach altered states of consciousness through certain, if you will, mystical plants,
mystical mushrooms,
ayahuasca. And dude, I was studying, recently. I was just doing like a deep dive on the occult, typical Monday afternoon for me.
Sure.
And that's one of the things that I came across was the most ancient form of spirit world communication was shamanism. And now this is crazy because I didn't know this, dude. I didn't know this particular piece of data, but the three levels of shamanism in the far ancient past. You ready for this? This kind of blew my freaking mind, dude. Again, Ryan Bledsoe did not make this up. I just kind of like fell on top of it. And anyway, the three levels of ancient spirit world communication to the shamans was cannabis, then mushrooms, then ayahuasca. Damn, that ended
no way. Cannabis, mushrooms, ayahuasca.
I don't know.
You hear that,
happened,
everybody?
Yeah, but in ancient times, that was the three levels of initiation into the spirit world from shamans.
Way.
That blew my mind, dude. That really blew my mind.
That's
honestly.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you could say there are lots of people out there
and
who
it makes
may be on the right track.
It makes a lot of sense as you look into the ayahuasca and the DMT. And people who have done these, when you do ayahuasca, you have to go and you have to visit a shaman, and you have to be with the shaman, and you have the tea, and it's usually a group of people, unless this is just reporting. I've never been there.
We're just reporting.
Yeah, we're just reporting. And what happens is ayahuasca is very intense. You're talking, like 15-hour trip. I believe there was
ayahuasca is
but
like
the thing
long.
is so DMT, right?
Whoa.
DMT and ayahuasca are about the same thing, but they are different experiences. So DMT is like
it's extracted from ayahuasca,
right?
Isn't DMT like 15 minutes? Isn't it like a
yes
super short?
It's extracted from the plant,
right? Usually about 8 to 10 minutes for DMT. So DMT, you're like straight up and straight down. Yeah, exactly. Whereas ayahuasca is more of you're going to kind of gently ride up, and then you're going to peak, and you're going to stay up there for a while, and then you're going to gently come back down.
Yeah.
And so I believe that there were tribes.
It's a guided experience. You don't just do ayahuasca. Like, it takes preparation.
You have to have a shaman.
Yes.
They guide you. Yeah.
and then I also believe there were tribes who, when you reached a certain, if you were if you reach a certain age, you took this tea and they sent you out into the woods, and if you came back, you were like a man, or you were accepted into the tribe. But basically, what I'm getting at is these ayahuasca circles. When you go to visit the shaman and you sit down with all these people, it is very common to have everybody there experiencing the same thing. So you talk about like clockwork elves,
that
you
is
talk
common.
about these experiences. So say these clockwork elves, for instance, come walking up, everybody there with you is seeing the same thing, which is not normal for regular drugs. Like regular hallucinogens, you take a hallucinogen. And,
I think it's also worth
thing.
mentioning, just real quick, it's worth mentioning that, like, particularly with DMT, your eyes are closed.
Well, physically open or closed, but you're not using your eyes.
Yeah. When you take DMT, the way it was described to me by a handful of people that I know personally who have done it a lot. When you do DMT, it's like you go into yourself and your eyes close. You're not asleep, but like it's your mind is in another place. It's in the spirit world.
For the most part, you lose physical control of your body.
Right.
I've heard of people speaking in tongue and not remembering.
I mean, I saw that shit in church.
A lot.
Well,
a lot.
A little different.
There's a wild anecdote exactly about what you're saying with like the shared experience thing. I think I told you, Ryan. I don't think we've talked about. We haven't talked about
it
not
on the show. Go ahead.
Yo, this is crazy. So by the time this episode comes out, please, somebody on Twitter remind me to link you the video, because there is a video. It's crazy. There's a video on YouTube, and I'm gonna keep it real short. It's just this guy who does DMT. He's done it like 30 times. He's like really into it. He's a comedian, and his friend is like, I really want to try it or whatever. So he comes over to like help him and guide him through the experience or whatever. Well, at that point, he had done it maybe 15 times. I think he says something like that. And he, a few of those times, met in the DMT realm. It's a completely different place. He said, I was in this crazy carnival of colors, literally like a carnival.
They call it hyperspace a lot, by the way. A lot of people call it hyperspace.
Oh, really?
Yes.
City of lights.
Oh, wow.
Hyperspace is a common term.
Yeah, and you have to break through. Yeah. So there's and what's crazy, I mean, now we're going off on a huge DMT tangent.
No, he's definitely got to finish the story.
Hold up.
It's a great story. It's a great story.
This is crazy. So he sees literally like a carnival, but like, the colors are wild and it's like crazy shit. And there's like a person. Yeah. Oh yes. It's always like fractal and geometry and there's like this person, I think, like playing a sitar or something like that. And then this purple like shaman woman, she like literally like rips open a hole in reality and comes out of it and starts talking to him and tells him like, oh, we've been in love for thousands of lifetimes, and like,
hey,
you're
Nick,
my
purple what? Third eye, remember? Third eye.
Ooh, that's crazy. She has a third eye in the the YouTube video. There's an animation. So anyway, he talks to her. She tells him they've been in love forever. He comes out of the trip. He goes back in. He sees her again. They start like building up this rapport, this like weird thing, whatever. All right, jump back to where his buddy is like, I want to try DMT. He goes over there and he's like, all right, man, I'll trip sit you. I'll stay sober and you can trip and I'll make sure you're good. And his buddy does it. And about 10 minutes in, his buddy is like, man, they really love you here. And he's like, yeah, there's a huge sense of like love. Like they really just want to take care of you and whatever. And he's like, no, I mean, they love you here. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude, I'm at this weird carnival and there's this purple lady telling me that she loves you and that you guys have been together for thousands of lifetimes and that she wants you to come in here right now and all this stuff. And like, excuse me? Like, like if that, I'm sorry that, and by the way, it is important to say the comedian who made the video and everything, he did not tell his friend a single experience he ever had on DMT because he wanted his friend to go in completely fresh-minded, no bias, nothing to and he literally detail for detail described the exact setting, place, and people that he had been speaking to. Like,
Wow.
Damn.
what? Talk about shared experiences. That's literally the spirit world.
And that's not, it is the spirit world. And that's not the only story I've heard of that either, dude. Like,
I've read about blind people who take DMT and see color.
what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
My sister's, one of her friends from
Whoa.
school many years ago had a class in college, and I don't remember what the class was, but they were talking about like shamanism, like doing ayahuasca in the Amazonian rainforest and shit, wherever they do it. I know it's South America. And anyway, he said that that was a common thing, was that people as a group would experience the same entities. Like, it's real entities. It's not just like, my cousin was really tired one night driving down the road, and he always told me he saw Frosty the Snowman on the road. Like, he hallucinated from extreme exhaustion. That's not what we're talking.
Though.
It is a real thing.
It's a thing in the trucker community too.
Yeah, like you hallucinate
something.
And my cousin he was a driver for Coke.
Yeah.
So like he's just driving.
Wow.
And he always told me, like, I saw Frosty on the road, and it's been like a family joke at the time. We all laughed about it. He's not crazy. He just was like falling asleep, and people see things. That's not what we're talking about here.
No,
these are entities in the DMT realm. They're very real living beings. They're non-physical. A lot of them are geometry, pure geometry. And that's the thing, dude. Like the archetypal structure of reality is math and geometry. That's why the freaking I just want to grab people and like shove that into their consciousness. Like, look at the Freemasons, bro.
So aggressive.
Yeah, I know. Because
isn't this supposed to be like a love thing? Like, where
no,
like,
it is, but
like,
it's tough love, man.
in a way,
It's
like,
tough love.
I love you.
I love you, man. But
I've loved you for thousands of lifetimes.
The real reality is geometric. It's forms that we can't comprehend, and it's patterns, it's math. It's like, it's not the numbers in the geometry itself, but it's like the pattern and the intelligence behind the math and the geometry. It's the architect. It's the source.
The thing that all of these experiencers or shamans, whatever you want to call them, describe as the DMT realm is the same thing we're talking about here, the spirit realm. It's the energy realm, the information realm, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same stuff.
Bro, there's a documentary about DMT called The Spirit Molecule.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
No
If it's still on Netflix, it's fantastic.
Yes.
No way.
And the genuine belief in this circle within the scientific community is that the chemical dimethyltryptamine, which is DMT, is such a powerful chemical that it doesn't just like alter your mind. They are trying to hypothesize that it actually transports your consciousness to another reality.
Right, like a portal in your brain.
Like
so
a portal.
They think that when, like, the moment in which that you die, the DMT is dispersed.
Well, that's
in your
true.
brain.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
just
know for
accepted.
sure. Yeah.
And when you dream, dude.
And also, yeah, in
Dreams
different increments, I'm
is
sure.
Yeah.
So
Much smaller.
Every living being that exists, DMT exists inside of that.
Yeah. When you dream at
No
night,
way.
that's trace amounts of DMT in the brain.
Yeah.
That's why you have dreams, which again, are dreams spiritual? I think so.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've always wondered if the dream realm is a collective unconscious, like a real place.
Definitely.
That's so wild to think about.
You want to hear something crazy? Again, about the spirit world. It's totally on topic, but my Aunt Margaret died at 89 years old. She was just a very sweet, like typical Southern devout Pentecostal Christian woman, just like, very, very Christian, very nothing mystical,
I love
By the
Southern
book.
women.
Yeah. So you like Southern
I
women?
love Southern women.
You do?
Tell us about it.
Yeah. Tell me.
It's
You got a
all I
Southern
know.
belle, man.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
Let's
she's
do a
great.
whole episode about Southern women.
She's fantastic.
We
I
should.
hope you'll bring me back on. I hope I can sit on the
We
couch
should,
again.
and we're gonna call it sacral chakra, and it's. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my
I'm just
gosh.
kidding. And
Oh,
so my Aunt Margaret, man, she was, dude, she was in a coma, and because she was old, she died at like 89 years old, and before she died, she was in a coma at one point for like weeks. They thought she wasn't gonna make it, and she again in a coma for weeks. My brother Chris Jr. was particularly close with her for some reason. I don't know. Chris Jr. is older than me. My Aunt Margaret passed when I was 15, so I never really got to witness, them interact much. But I know they were close. And Chris Jr. was in the room with her, when she was in this coma, and she freaking sat up. out of the coma. And they're like, oh my God, Aunt Margaret. and she and she said she just had a dream where she was at a river and she was told, she was in a white gown in the coma, and she was told by a spirit or something. She said if she crossed the river that she wouldn't return to her body, but she had the choice. Did she want to stay or did she want to cross the river and move on? And in her coma, she knew that she had to come back.
Wow.
And help, her family get things in order before she passed. And crazy thing, yeah, true story. And I don't mean to like take the away from this incredibly profound story, but her grandson, my cousin Mac, shout out Mac, he's a fan of the show. He just got me a PS5.
What?
Yeah. Shout out Mac.
Shout out Mac.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No way. Those were both equally incredible,
Profound.
mind-blowing things.
Equally
Yeah.
profound.
Well,
yeah.
Like your aunt literally like had an experience in the spirit world and remembered it, and you got a PS5. That's
Yeah.
That's amazing.
A brand new PS5.
Yeah.
I would go as far as to say those two experiences are equally rare.
They're both profound. Yeah.
They're
Dude, whose cousin
Oh
buys
my
them a
God.
PS5?
Well, who gets a PS5? They're extremely limited.
Incredibly rare. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So then
That's
okay,
wild, dude.
so-
That is
yeah,
really
right. And I have another one
crazy.
for you. So my grandmother, who
Another PS5?
no, not that.
Oh.
We're going back
Oh,
to the spirit
dude.
world. My grandmother, who you know very well, my lovely Southern belle of a grandma. And I don't mean that ironically, like she really is. I don't want anybody to take that wrong. Like she's sweetest soul in the world. And
Your mom's mom or your dad's
yeah,
mom?
yeah. Well, I mean both, but this story is about my
Right,
mom's
right.
mom.
Yeah.
So she told me just a few weeks ago, dude, listen, this is kind of funny because she is not into this paranormal stuff. Everybody and their mother
Right.
knows, like in our family,
Right.
that my dad was on TV. Everyone knows
Mhm.
about that. They all know about the UFO stuff, but like we don't talk about it on my mom's side. It is strict taboo.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just not a conversation. They don't,
No, never.
it's not Christian. It's not like they, daily, like, talk to me negatively about it, but we just don't
Dude,
bring it up.
For as long as I've known you, I don't know that I have never seen any of this talked about around her. I'm
Never.
trying to like
No, we're
be
not allowed.
careful about yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're not
Trying
allowed.
to be that's never once.
And initially there was very heavy criticism in a very traumatic way for me as a child from that side of the family and the way that they treated us over it. But anyway, moving past, that was a long time ago, 15 years. Oh my God, today is 15 years.
Exactly.
It's
Wow.
January 8th.
Wow.
No.
Damn. Yeah,
your
today's
dad. Yep. I saw
today's
it on
15
Instagram.
years. I got to tweet that. boys.
What?
Today is 50. It is January 8th, right?
Well, the day
It-
we record
Wait,
this.
It's 15 years today, guys.
Yeah.
The Cape Fear River.
Wow.
This will be out in
It'll be
4 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks from now. So this will come out in late January, February. But
Yeah.
today is January 8th. I didn't think about that all day,
Wow.
but today is the 15-year anniversary of the most profound UFO story of all time. So awesome.
Wow.
And anyway,
Awesome.
so
Cool.
moving past that, I'll put out a tweet. But moving past that, initially they were very hands up against this stuff. And who wouldn't be? It's,
Right.
it's
It's
crazy ass
understandable.
shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But a few weeks ago, my grandma let something slip to me. She doesn't like paranormal stuff. It scares her. It's not Christian, but she did tell me that when she was younger, her mother and father at separate times, very soon after each other, died. And back in those days, in the earlier, way before our generation, when the family died and you knew it was coming, you wanted to die at home, and like the
Right.
open casket, the wake or whatever, like it was in your home. They didn't
Yeah.
like necessarily go to a funeral home and have a
Right.
wake. And my grandma said when her mother and separately when her father died, her and her sisters, she has like 8 siblings or something like that back then. She's the last one alive now, unfortunately. But back then, her and several of her sisters were in the next room just waiting for their mom to pass. And every single one of them heard a bell ring when my great grandma died. Just a bell.
Yeah.
And then months or years later, when great grandpa died, or whatever the order was, I don't know, they all heard a bell ring.
No.
Yeah.
In both
Wow.
instances,
Yep.
I want to know like what the significance of the bell is. Oh my gosh. See, that's what my brain does. As soon I get one piece of information and it splits off in 10 ways and I have so many questions.
Well, see, growing up, literally like one of the big paranormal cases out there. I
Yeah.
quite literally have a lot of experience with this kind of stuff. My initial interpretation of that is these entities are going to use symbols or things that not only get the attention of somebody, but is something that they understand. You know, because she understands it as like an angel ringing a bell. You know, that's how she understands it. Haven't you ever heard the term like every time a bell rings an angel grows its wings?
An angel gets its wings. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very old Christian thing, but it literally they heard bells in the house from the spirit world. That's
Hang on, is
crazy.
that the OG saying? I know the whole like every time something happens, an angel gets its wings. Is it a bell?
I'm pretty sure. I could be getting this wrong.
That would be crazy.
I very well could be wrong. I hope I'm not, but
let's say it's right.
I had a bell like that as a kid that said
in a way they tell you what you need to hear.
Yes, they give you what you need. It's a bell. Dude. My wife Jenny, she's actually playing the role.
It is. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's
so
real.
Every time a bell rings, an angel grows its wings.
Producer Jenny.
Whoa.
And like that's so crazy that my grandma felt compelled to tell me that. Like subconsciously, she knew how I would take that. You know what I mean? That I would know that there was something spooky about it. That's the kind of thing.
Mind blowing.
In our family, I think subconsciously they all know that I'm not just like evil, just like talking about evil alien shit. I mean, I don't talk about aliens at all. I don't even necessarily believe in them, but
right. Yeah. Not in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tangent. So back to the spirit world. Talk about the DMT and the ayahuasca and the this and the that and the mushrooms or whatever. Brand new cherry flavor. The Netflix show.
Good show.
Such a good show.
I'll have to check it out.
Honestly,
yes,
man,
you do.
I don't know that you'll like it if I'm being dead honest.
Okay.
But it is quality, man.
Well, I probably won't watch it.
It's quality. It's very esoteric. It's got a lot of like Masonic symbolism in it. And like the whole purpose of the show is she does a plant medicine based ritual and forms a tether to the spirit world.
Yep.
It's crazy.
She starts like
cool.
Seeing spirits and like being able to do all sorts of weird
from plants,
stuff.
dude.
Literally.
From plants.
Yeah. And they're not coy about it at all. They're very straightforward.
Nope. There's also like sex magic in it, blood magic.
There's also archetypal energy.
Energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all in there. And then it has this is the next thing I wanted to get into anyway, but there's a lot of black and white like duality symbolism in the show.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm having an allergy attack.
You're good. You can fight it, dude.
I'm trying. I'm fighting it so
I believe in you.
A lot of like archetype, not that. A lot of Masonic black and white symbolism, duality. And that's exactly what the black and white symbolism with the Freemasons means, is it's just duality at every level of reality. And that's actually an ancient Egyptian concept. We briefly talked about it earlier in the morning of this episode. Right at about dawn. Yeah, right around when we started hitting record back at around dawn. But anyway.
Around dawn.
Yeah, something like that. And it's crazy because like that show deals a lot with the alchemical inner transmutation. Like there are characters, I don't want to spoil anything because it is honestly a phenomenal show. Very dark, very explicit, like very dark. Like don't watch this around children. It is an extremely graphic, dark, gory, scary, just graphic. But so with that being like heavy parts of the show, there's a lot of like gray area. Like this character's evil, but they're kind of like helping these people. It's like it's showing you the black and white symbolism. Like literally there will be characters who wear black and white the whole show and they'll go through these transformations, but like symbolically the character is going through this duality within herself. Like half the season you think she's like innocent and then it's like she's not, but then it's like she is. You know what I'm talking about, Nick, right?
Oh, totally.
You finished
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's cool. It's just very alchemical.
Yeah.
Oh, Jenny said Spirited Away. That's a
Oh, listen, I've been waiting this entire episode to talk about Spirited Away. That is one of maybe my favorite depiction. So why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to talk about like the different popular depictions of the spirit realm. I think that would be cool because like okay, so for instance, the movie Soul, right? You see Soul,
amazing movie.
Oh, so good. I mean, yeah, incredible.
He's connected to the spirit world through his artistic creative like piano.
Exactly. He literally like will be improvising on piano and he gets in the zone and like literally parts of his consciousness start drifting into the spirit realm. Like quite literally.
That's
I don't know if you
that's a really
it's incredible. I don't know if you notice this, but there's also straight up like a hippie stoner character who's obviously like on drugs.
And he's connected to the spirit world. Yeah.
He's like the captain of a ship in the spirit world.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Soul is that like the spirit realm in Soul, it seems to be like a completely separate realm and like its own geography.
It's archetypal.
But then in something like Spirited Away, it's almost like the spirit realm is a layer on top of the real world. You know what I mean? It's not that it's a completely different place, because Spirited Away, by the way, if there's anybody, including Alex, who hasn't seen Spirited Away, watch that. It's incredible.
It's phenomenal.
I'll have to check it out.
It's phenomenal. It's one of the best animated films of all time.
I've only heard good things about it.
Oh, dude, it's
I think it may actually even be accredited as such, like the best anime movie.
And it was produced by Disney, like very high quality.
Won tons of awards. It's incredible. But in that, she literally, like, they moved to a new city. She walks through a red gate and boom, they're in the spirit world. Like it's literally like that. It's
and
just
you know what's
like
crazy
that.
about that too? Like, you know, Haku, he in the spirit world, he may look like a dragon or a young boy, but in reality, he's the consciousness of the river. When you think about that, that's crazy. He's a force of nature.
He's a forest spirit. He's like a nature spirit.
Yeah. That's like that's Egyptian, dude.
They talk about that. That's kind of how they talk about the spirits in Spirited Away, is they're tied to specific things. And even some of them are even like egregores. Like No Face is basically an egregore.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He's a spirit comprised of negative energy. That movie is extremely
profound,
spiritual. I mean, it's in the title, but like extremely spiritual. And then, you know, even something like Star Wars, the spirit realm or the force realm, the truly how can I say this, the truly enlightened Jedi, if you want to call it that, become force spirits. And they in Star Wars, it's like a layer on top of the real world. It
surrounds everything and penetrates everything.
It's interesting how it's like some depictions, it's like a layer of the real world, and others it's a completely different realm. It makes me wonder, because like, okay, like we were just talking about, right? The DMT realm with that experience. It's like the dude's sitting in his living room, but he took it and he's in a carnival.
Yeah.
But then also there are tons of accounts of people in the real world being interacted with spirits or hearing things like they're in the room. So it's like the truth seems to be somewhere in the middle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely believe that the eternal world is, you know, this is a multiverse, meaning there are multiple layers of the universe or universes interlapping. It's like you look at what's the term, like manifold. It's non-Euclidean geometry, meaning it's not so, I don't know how to explain this in like technical mathematic terms off the top of my head, but reality is,
I have a halfway decent. Remember, I don't know if you did this in science class, but when we were learning about the human body, we had like these transparent sheets.
Yeah.
And we would stack them on top of each other, and all of them together would make the entire human body. Like one's the nervous system, one's the bones, one's the skin. It's kind of like that.
But that's the same with manifested reality. Think about this, dude. We're looking at a laptop. We're looking at a computer. And you know what's the crazy thing? The similarity to the computer and like to me and you, if you broke that computer open and ripped out its guts, it wouldn't really work anymore. You know, the magic would be gone. It's the same with a human being.
Yeah.
If you just like chop that bitch up and pull its liver out, like it doesn't work anymore. The magic is gone.
That, just report it.
And to my intuition tells me just the way I think about things and perceive things from my perspective, meaning, dude, I grew up with beings of light. One literally stepped in my bedroom. Like, you think about things different, I can promise you.
For sure.
That's how I understand reality itself, the way it manifests. There are rules. Like, you can't, the magician archetype, the first tarot card, which by the way, that's my life path 1, the magician. But when you understand how reality itself is like one big magic trick, right? The magic lies in the illusion. You know, me and you are just walking magic tricks. You don't see how it operates until you break it apart and like destroy it and break it down alchemically and observe the insides. It's the same with reality. It's the same with the computer. It's the same with a pocket knife. You can't with your 5 senses like observe the inner workings of something that is living and actually operating and functioning. Reality is the same way.
Yeah, and specifically with technology, we were talking about American Cosmic, like, you know, that book is largely about technology and how how closely it is related. Think about this. The internet is like a microcosm of the collective consciousness. Like
it absolutely is. Yeah.
It totally is. And think about this even. Like we talk about how when your body dies, it doesn't lose momentum. The data of your consciousness just continues. It might merge back with the collective consciousness. It might just keep going somewhere else. Well, dude, if I completely turn this computer off and then turn it back on another, you know, tomorrow, all the data is still going to be there because I could take the hard drive out of this thing, put it in a completely different machine. All the data is still going to be there.
Yeah.
I could upload this to the cloud, whatever, like the data. It doesn't matter what the machine is. That's the point. It's a microcosm. It doesn't matter what the machine is.
Right.
The data is the important thing. It's
Absolutely.
really wild. It's a microcosm.
Yeah, for sure. But that's true. But specifically what I was getting at is every layer of reality seems to have this rule behind it. That's like, there has to be a level of illusion for it to work. You know, this reality that we're in, there has to be some level of illusion. You can't just be all knowing and all seeing. I can't just like see your organs pumping blood and, you know, oxygen and things through your body while I'm having a conversation with you. I can't see like light waves and particles coming from the sun to enrich the plants that give us oxygen. You can't see these things. You can't observe them. You can ponder them. You can break them down and get these instruments. And
you can't see the data that's being passed between our computers right now to make this possible. Yeah, I see exactly. There's like this magical illusion there.
Yes, and yes, exactly. But the world is there. The thing is there. There's a chip in my computer that I know works. It's there. If I was to smash it open, I would see it. I could touch it. But like if I did that, then the computer's destroyed. You know, it's a magic trick. It's illusion. That's how reality itself manifests. And everybody's like, well, you know, they want to know all the answers. It just doesn't work that way in the material sense. You have to open up your extrasensory perception to understand the magic trick, or your third eye. When you have your third eye open, I know this isn't the chakra episode, but when you have your third eye open, whatever path you take to get there, then you can see through the magic trick of reality itself. You know, you are truly like a consciousness, spiritual, immortal entity, just manifesting a physical form so you can walk around in this dense little reality and just learn things about yourself. You know, when you're eternal, infinite energy, there's really nothing to learn. You know, there's nothing that you can experience. You're limitless. So there's always these cycles on a macrocosmic scale of energy freeing itself and then being bound back into this dense reality. And you and me are just living that out, and we're trying to like make sense of it.
I mean, yeah, it's almost like the whole bottleneck of the human body is intentional. It's like,
yeah, it is.
It's going to be way easier for you to learn this in this form.
Yes.
And then like, it's also possible while you're in this form to get some glimpses of the true infinite reality by, you know, elevating your physical form, because we talk all the time about, you know, a lot of these new age concepts that raise your vibrational frequency. Like our bodies actually have a frequency. Our physical bodies really do have frequency, and when the frequency is raised, things happen. Like things change. You see things differently. You know, it makes a change.
Really cool, believe it or not, a really cool esoteric like pop culture representation of the spirit world, in my opinion. This is gonna be kind of out of the box, but it's the Flash. How, I mean, if you think about it, dude, the Flash is cool. He doesn't just run fast. You know the Flash, right? Like DC Comics. His power is not running fast. That's not it. His
I got a new
power,
Flash comic today, by the way.
dude. I love the Flash, dude.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And
It was
like the Flash's ability is not that he just runs super quick. That's not it. His ability is that he is the physical living incarnation of the force of speed, the speed force. He is the
Mhm.
human being that manifests as the speed force.
Yep.
And in the Snyder Cut Justice League movie, the most recent one, it does a very good depiction of him like accessing the speed force, because he begins to vibrate and move so fast that he has this moment of realization in the film. He's like, I can rewrite the past and I can change the future if I just be here right now, consciously observing this moment.
And he tells himself,
be here now, Barry.
Yeah, be here now, Barry.
Just be here now, Barry. At the time, I didn't understand it.
It's some meditational shit right there.
It is. He literally just realized, and he does it. I mean, obviously it's fiction. It's like really gassed up.
Right.
It's metaphorical, but he basically enters the realm of like eternal consciousness outside of linear time. You know, he rewrites reality itself.
Yeah, he's so OP. He's so powerful, and people don't know that.
Yeah,
he's
he really
a living
is.
paradox.
He's
a living paradox. The reason that it is Barry is because like he's the one who gives himself his own powers.
He is the lightning bolt that strikes himself.
It's insane, dude. He is archetypal. He's paradoxical.
Yeah, the Flash is legit. Very underrated.
One of the coolest superheroes. That he's not just a fast guy, like you said.
No, that is not his power.
No.
Anyway, so I like to look at those kinds of pop culture references and understand them from that spiritual angle that they're subtly hinting at. But, you know, to me, the spirit world is the true, eternal, timeless reality. It's outside of the boundary of time. Everything in this in space, yeah, of course. But everything in this dense physical reality is bound under the illusion of time and space. And that's, the beings told my dad, this is just a little game. Your soul just comes here and it just learns lessons. It just is born here. I'm just trying to make sense of that, from the esoteric angle and diving into this stuff. And I'm going to be honest, I would be honestly lying if I never said that sometimes things just come into my mind in a way that I can't explain.
Dude.
It's not that crazy. Like, I've been told by literal members of the CIA that my family is psychic and that we have these intuitive downloads. And a part of me is like, ooh, I'm afraid to say that because I've been so harshly judged for the experiences I've had. I grew up with my dad on TV. It's like hard for me to come out and admit that. But like in reality, I'm psychic.
Yeah, man. I think most people can say that at some point or another in their life, they've had such a shocking moment of intuition that they were like, that was scary. What just happened? Like, that came into my head before it happened. It came into my head so crystal clear.
Yeah.
Why did I know that?
That happens to me all the time. And it's this esoteric stuff. It just comes to me. And then I go research it and I'm like, well, I'll be damned. They were talking about this 3,000 years ago.
That's another thing that they talk about a lot in American Cosmic. And they even talk about like,
I need to read this book, man.
Yeah, you're in it. Your family is thanked in the book. They literally thank you to the Bledsoe family. But they talk about ways that you can like prime your body to receive those downloads even.
Yeah.
Like, how to undo some of the bottlenecks of your physical body.
Yeah.
Which is like, if you think about it like that, if you truly think about your body like an antenna and like, sometimes we throw a bunch of gunk at our antenna. We eat gummy worms and we, drink coffee and we do all this stuff that might mess with your head, mess with your antenna a little bit. But if sometimes you polish the antenna, rub some of the gunk off of it, like you'll get a better signal. You'll get a way better signal.
That's true. And meditation is one very powerful way to clear that signal. You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah. Yes.
Timothy Taylor, the guy in the Department of Defense. I know you all know who that is, but I'm just saying that for the listener.
Right.
I keep reiterating his.
And the viewer.
He's who they talk about in America.
And the viewer. Yes, he's the guy who, and like in the world of ufology. I know we have a lot of listeners who are not into like ufology, and to be honest, I'm not into ufology. I grew up in it. I can't stand it, but I grew up poked and prodded by it. I can't stand it, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, in ufology, like Timothy Taylor is probably the most mysterious figure out there. Well, he came to my house and honest to God, dude, he tried to get my dad into yoga.
That's awesome.
He tried to get my
That's
dad
so
into yoga,
awesome.
and that's what he does. He practices yoga. He also practices martial arts. That's more of like an exercise, physical discipline. But the yoga is the spiritual, physical discipline.
Right. Well, so I think it was the beginning of this episode. We were talking about altered states of consciousness. That's how we got off on the DMT tangent. I think there are obviously there's levels to that. I think you can.
Damn it. I meant to talk about yoga on the chakras episode. I'm sorry.
Well,
we're going to do a yoga episode.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is you can do an altered state of consciousness on a micro level compared to taking some hero dose of DMT, doing yoga, meditation. And also we talked about, I didn't talk about with you, Nick, but like for me, driving, it's almost like it's a hyper focus because I'm not somebody, I despise texting and driving, but I'm not going to go off on that tangent. But it's almost like there's a passive meditation where you're not sitting still and closing your eyes. You're just sitting there observing, listening, looking, and not, saying anything, just observing. It's like a passive meditation. And I think you can kind of reach these different levels.
You're getting into like a trance.
Exactly. And so I tend to have a lot of intuition behind the wheel. And I think that's part of the reason why. And so I think you can get into some of these altered states without, doing ayahuasca in the jungle with a shaman.
Crazy thing, we've talked about this before. By the way, that is an amazing point. You
don't have to, take drugs to do that.
Right.
I just,
the Tibetan monks, that's what they do. They spend their entire lives meditating and
yoga,
and they get to and doing yoga, and they get to that point. We've talked about this before, where like some of these major Tibetan, Buddhists monks, like people will like have them in the past. It's happened, have them take acid, and it has zero effect.
Zero effect. I think Duncan Trussell talks about that, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's the one I heard it from.
Yeah, and it's not my quote. It's not my quote, but they say that meditation is the rake and drugs are the leaf blower.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Great.
Yeah, and again, I strongly believe that trauma, if handled properly, is another pathway. Anybody can be traumatized and not recover. Anybody, that can literally happen to anyone. I think it takes a certain strength of mind to transmute that trauma into positivity.
It's kind of like a bump start.
Yeah, but I guess but I just think like I'm not saying like everybody should go be traumatized, but I'm just saying you can heal from it and learn profound things.
Well, look, it's similar to what we were talking about in the chakras episode, where it's like if you have those things that you're able to overcome, like you face against all odds, you overcome something that's extremely valuable. Like you learn about yourself.
It's lessons. But what I was going to say about the yoga, dude, is the true ancient form of yoga, in the West, meaning America, England, your Western European countries, et cetera, we understand yoga as like exercise. It's like new age. Like, yeah, man, I just had my tea. Now I'm gonna go do some yoga. And
it's a rebranding.
It's this really like trendy, like exercise thing. Like, let me go and like stretch my psoas muscle in my hip and get the peppermint on my forehead at the end and like listen to this song.
I did that.
It's great. It's great, right?
We went and did hot yoga, and they totally put like a peppermint like towel on my forehead afterwards.
Well, Nick, I'm not making this shit up. This was my experience in yoga too. It's real.
Incredible.
I love it, but I'm just saying that's not all it is. In the ancient past, yoga was not stretches. It was it was 3 or 4. I can't remember off the top of my head. I had to research this in college and go down these rabbit holes for, because I studied religion. But in the ancient past, yoga was one of the pathways to nirvana, or like escaping the wheel of reincarnation. It was not just stretches. It was a lifestyle of unfolding your inner nature. Stretches was one way to help with that, because when you get in these stretches, you're in this like meditative stance and you're aligning your body in a certain way that can allow trauma to be like released from your physical form. You have to understand the physical manifestation that you have is a reflection of the state of your chakras, so if you're
as above, so below.
As above, so below. That's exactly correct. So yoga is at least the true version of yoga is a very sacred spiritual thing. It's not just the stretches. And then, bro, when you're ready to move past that, you get into Tantra.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, bye
Well-
guys.
Well, no. So I forgot to mention.
I still have not practiced Tantra.
You'll
I'm just
get there.
reporting.
Just reporting.
You're just reporting. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So altered state of consciousness. I forgot to mention exercise. Talk about a runner's high. Talk about yoga.
Yeah,
Doing these sports to alter the kind of consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what the biggest benefit of yoga for me is?
What?
Learning that doing down dog will help you pass gas. It's crazy. It's like a hack. If you take one,
First of all, it's called downward dog.
yeah,
That's
what
awesome.
I you know,
I like the Alex version better.
just
I like
abbreviate
down
it.
dog.
I
bro.
love that.
Just abbreviate it, bro.
I love that.
Yo, I was
Yeah.
doing down dog, and I started farting,
all right.
dude.
Real talk. No, I'm serious. If your stomach starts hurting, right? If your stomach starts hurting, go in
man.
another room because whoever you're living with is not gonna.
Or
be
you
happy
could
with
just understand
Uh,
right then and there. You got a strong solar plexus chakra. Just do it right in front of
it.
everybody.
Yeah,
man.
I'm serious.
Yes.
Do
You're
down
confident,
dog,
man.
do downward dog. And
Down dog.
for a couple seconds.
I like down dog.
Olivia's gonna listen to this and she's gonna be mad at me. Dude,
Yo,
I'm
his
serious.
girlfriend's a Pilates instructor. She's like really.
She knows all about you.
She's
Sound
a-
like Olivia when you're talking about this. Yeah.
Well, we're both Leos.
Yeah, you're both Leos.
Yeah,
Ah,
our birthdays are a day apart.
Yeah.
That's
so now,
awesome.
I'm Leo and she's Leona.
Wait, is she the 5th or the 7th? Or wait, no,
The
You're
6th, right?
you're the 7th.
Sixth.
I'm the 7th. Yeah,
Sixth.
What is she? Hers is the
the
6th.
6th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my dad and brother's birthday.
and that's why I remind you of your father.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for reminding me. Dad. Thanks, Dad. I'm gonna start calling you Dad on this show.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious, man. And so
He goes,
that's hilarious. Downward dog, I like that. What's
down dog.
down dog? Yeah, down dog. Downward dog is pretty
Down
cool
dog.
too.
It's the same
Um,
pose. Same pose.
Yeah, pretty much different.
It's slightly different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yoga's super cool. I've actually been talking a lot to my wife, Jenny, about like us maybe getting into yoga. We used to do it
Yeah.
long ago, but then I branched away from that and I got back into the martial arts, which is great. But I feel like my focus now is like more inward with those kinds of pathways. Back then I wanted to be like, yeah, martial arts. I want to be able to like mess anybody up. I just don't care about that anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
You're on a more
You're not
peaceful
out
path.
in this. You're not out in the streets messing people up, right?
no,
Oh.
no, that was never me. But how do we,
He's
How
out in the
much time
streets
do we have?
lifting people up.
yeah, dude. Like
Yeah.
I said, you know, if you think back on the Jack Jesus, it's like, you know, you either turn the other cheek or you're about to catch these hands.
Yeah.
The Jack Jesus.
Yeah, catch these hands praying.
The Bledsoe said so street show. We're out here in these streets.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
Jesus.
Hey, you want to know a
Lifting
funny
people
story? You
up.
want to know a funny? This is a true story. How trauma manifests in the body and in the mind. Do you remember the show Street Sharks? You probably don't because you're not
No,
into that
yeah.
kind of stuff. But I know Nick was more into that kind of, you know, like Ninja Turtles.
I
and
had Street Sharks. I had the figures.
same. I had a lot of them.
I was just late to the whole Ninja Turtle thing.
Oh my god, I
just
love
missed
Ninja
it.
Turtles. Love them.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they were my favorite. That was my.
yeah,
I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze at least 100 times in my life.
See, I
At
was like that
least.
with the first and the third one. I never had the
Really?
second one as a kid on VHS. I didn't
Oh
watch
my
it till I
gosh.
was like 10, dude. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But fun fact for the listener and the viewer. I gotta switch that. But me and Nick's mics, well, Nick's isn't here. It's usually right there, but they have a red
Mine's
and a blue
is here.
sticker. Yeah, they're Raphael and Leonardo. We named them.
Yeah,
Remember?
you can't see mine, but on this side it's blue. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a red sticker. We named them all back in May. We named them Raphael and Leonardo. We ain't playing
Yeah.
with you. Like we really like Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
And
yeah.
back in the 90s, Street Sharks was pretty big too. It was very similar.
Mhm.
Instead of 4 turtles, it was 4 freaking sharks.
Well, wait a minute. Which Ninja Turtle is white? 'Cause that's
There
the
isn't
sticker.
one.
There is not
There's
one.
a-
and
I
there
have
will never be one.
mine's nameless.
Okay.
Okay.
He's Tommy from the Power Rangers.
Yes, dude. That's
Okay.
that was my other jam in the 90s.
Oh
And
yeah.
I freaking love Power Rangers, dude. And so back then Street Sharks, it never gained the traction that like Ninja Turtles did and Power Rangers. Like it didn't have the staying power. No one really knows about it anymore. But back then it was the shit, dude.
Oh yeah. It was
And
big.
like, yeah, it was. And I had like toys and I was super into it back at like 3-4 years old. And when I was 4 at the house we lived in at the time, I always wanted to be the street shark with the rollerblades named Bobby. And I had these little Fisher Price roller skates. Keep in mind, I'm like 4 years old. This is like 1996 or 7, you know? And oh, dude, he's pulling up pictures.
You see how jacked they are, Alex? Look how
dude, they're
jacked
huge.
they are, dude.
They're literally
They're
sharks in the
huge.
street, and they don't swim underwater. They swim under the concrete.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing.
I like the
That's so
cowboy
good.
boot shark.
Yeah. So
Oh,
see the one
dude.
with the rollerblades? That was
Yeah.
me. I always
Bobby.
wanted to be him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roller
And-
Bobby.
And when I was 4 years old, I was skating in Fisher Price roller skates in the house, dude. And I tripped when the linoleum from the kitchen turned into the carpet of the living room.
That'll
You know,
get ya.
I tripped and I literally snapped my leg in 3 places. And for the rest of my 4th year of my life, I like limped around on a full leg cast. And swear to God, my biggest fear is sharks.
And that's why, of
That's-
all the reasons, that's why.
After all these years, I think that's why. Yeah, because I was pretending to be the shark, dude, at that age.
You're afraid of sharks because you broke your leg rollerblading in your house.
I was a shark,
in
dude.
Fayetteville.
I
in
was. Yeah.
Fayetteville.
I'm just saying, dude. Like I really do have a fear of sharks. Like seriously, I'm not playing. Like it's always been my
So,
biggest fear.
When was the last time you were in the ocean?
I never got in 2021, unfortunately. 2020, and I lived
this
10 minutes
the
away.
Is this the Street Sharks episode of the
It's
podcast?
it's the trauma episode.
Yeah.
We got to do a trauma episode. That could really help a lot of people.
I can't wait to
Oh,
drop
I'd
street
love
sharks
that.
in this video.
Dude, I love street sharks. They were
Yes.
cool, man.
I'm gonna go try to find a episode on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
It didn't age very well. Like it's an old show. It's a 90s.
It
like-
aged about as well as Battletoads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Ninja Turtles is timeless. It
Oh,
will
yes.
always
Don't
be
get it twisted.
iconic. Here, I got to show this. Hold on. Check this out.
Oh, he about to pull out a
I'm
Ninja
not
Turtle?
gonna.
I'm about to pull
interrupt
out.
him.
I'm about to pull out a Ninja Turtle. Check this out. It's not really that visible on the camera yet. This little guy right here. Hold on. I got to show this off, dude.
It's
Here, we can take-
tiny.
Hey Ryan,
Put
I
your
can
hand
take
behind it. Put your hand behind it. It'll help it focus.
a classic YouTube moment.
Yeah. Put your okay.
Nice.
It's decent. You can see it all right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Cool.
your little Ninja Turtle, dude.
This little thing is 25 years old, man. My mom surprised me with this and gave it to me this past year. This was mine when I was a baby back in the early 90s, and I would sleep with this in my hand every night.
Dude, you remember the toy set that they had with the what was the name of their van? You know what I'm talking about? They had a van and there was a
Yes,
toy
yes,
set that had
yes.
the van.
That was in the show, in the 80s show.
Yo,
yeah.
you want to hear some wild shit?
Yeah.
My dad to this day has a figurine of Raphael wearing a Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls jersey.
That is so cool.
He has a figure. Oh, and here's the best part. His right arm is spring loaded. So there's a little ball that came with it. You could like pull his arm back and he'll like shoot the ball. Dude,
It's so dumb.
it might
It's
be
so
worth
dumb.
some money.
It might
Yeah.
be. Dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
awesome.
Hey, how much time do
What
we
a-
have left?
We're over.
We're
Yeah.
out of time.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
Oh well,
What a perfect way to wrap up the Spirit World episode.
yeah.
Michael
feel like-
Jordan, Raphael.
I feel like as time goes on, we're just becoming more and more disentangled from what we're supposed to be. And I
that's
wouldn't have it any
just
other
the
way.
we like it. Yes, exactly.
Hey,
All right.
about to end on this note. Premium coming soon.
Coming real soon.
Ooh,
Very soon.
Coming real soon.
Keep your eye on that.
All right.
awesome.
Hell
All
Three,
right.
2, 1. Bye, guys.
Guys.
Weird things happen in the backyard of the Bledsoe house.